Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So quickly confirm if we are visible and audible, because from our side we are good to go. So Sukirti Madhavi and
Amrit Gaurdas,
and we welcome you for this Gita Mastery Course, Trimester 2, Session 2. We will be getting into Chapter 4, second section, and we will try to understand that. And before we do that, we will all chant the prayers together. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapte Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarini Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Nirdaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So like always, we begin our session with a Gita Rewind thing. So here we are sharing a quiz on your screens. Okay, you do not have that slide there.
the poll.
You can launch the poll. So just a moment.
Yes.
So here goes the poll on your screens, and we request you to mark the correct answers.
Next slide. So those of you who have attended the previous session and those of you who have gone through the notes, just carefully consider the various options. Just don't mark the first right option that you see. Just go through all the options and then mark your answer. And then hope most of you get it right. Camera. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So we can see that 60% of you have completed the quiz. We will wait for a little longer so that everyone gets it right, and then we proceed to the next. So hope you are getting the quiz right. I understand that there is a little issue with the YouTube. We are working on it, and you will see the slide. Just give us 1 minute, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So with this, we will end our poll and we will discuss the correct answers to the poll. So the first question was, which is the proper process of knowledge transfer? And the correct answer is option number 3, disciplic succession or bona fide parampara system.
Question 2, the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita originated from, and the right answer is it originated from Krishna. So if you see the first verse of the 4th chapter, that's where Krishna says that I gave this knowledge.
What is the qualification to receive knowledge? A person needs to be a devotee of Krishna. He also needs to be friend of Krishna. So the correct answer is third option. And we can also see that in the third verse, Krishna says Bhakt and Sakha. He uses 2 words. So that is what the answer is, to receive the knowledge.
And the 4th question, why did Arjun ask doubt? So why did Arjun ask doubt? To enlighten the ignorant people, yes. To defeat atheistic people, yes. To hear directly from Krishna, yes. So the correct answer is all of the above.
Question number 5. There are total 4 yugas and we are in Kali Yuga. So correct answer is second one.
Question 6. The difference between Krishna and us is Krishna forgets and we remember is an obvious wrong answer. So the second answer is correct. Krishna remembers and we forget, because Krishna specifically talks about remembrance. And
many of you have answered.
Some of
you have answered the 4th one. Actually, the correct, the 4th one is actually opposite. Like Krishna is Vibhu and we are Anu. So that is why it is wrong.
Yeah. So Krishna, Anu means insignificant, very, very, very small. So Krishna is not Anu. Okay. So next question is, avatar incarnations of Krishna are mentioned in the scriptures. Yes. Lead us towards God consciousness. Yes. Gives message according to time, place and circumstance. Yes. So the correct answer is all of the above.
Question number 8. Why does the Lord appear? to show he is superior, to show he is powerful, to re-establish the principles of religion. So the correct answer is option number 3. Dharma samsthapanarthayo sambhavami yuge yuge.
So most of you got it right. Question number 9. Result of acquiring the real knowledge. And the right answer is both A and B. No rebirth, goes back to Krishna.
What is the result of understanding transcendental knowledge? And the correct answer is option number 4, which 91% of you have marked it right. All of the above. Freed from attachment, fear and anger, become purified, attain love for Krishna, and hence all of the above.
And that's why I gave you the tip at the beginning of this quiz that you kindly go through all the options, read all the options, and then mark the one that you feel is the best.
Okay, so with this, we will get into the sections, the next section now. So last session, we discussed from verse number 1 to verse number 10. And now we are getting into the next section. Krishna removes misconception, which is from verse number 11 to verse number 15. Now this is again a very powerful section coming up here, because lots of us have lot of misconceptions, and Krishna is clarifying. Krishna is categorically and specifically talking about the misconceptions. So as we saw, like in the last class also, we said that it's a very important section, and even this section is very important section. So let's all get into these verses from 11 to 15. So here on your screen is the first shloka. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mam vartmanushvartante manushya partha sarvashaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So now here Krishna is telling that different type of people approach to me. So like in the previous verse, we saw that Krishna was talking about how many people approach him and then they perfect their lives by understanding the transcendental process and by following and implementing in their life. But the question may arise, does everyone look for perfection? Is this why they go to Krishna? There are so many others who go to Krishna also, who are not looking for going back to Vaikuntha Lok, but they want to do something else. They want to enjoy. So Krishna is telling here that with whatever desire they approach me, I reward them accordingly. So we'll see the insight of this verse. What if someone does not want perfection, but something else? And Krishna rewards them according to their desire. So what is it? What desires can people have? So one very prominent thing is lot of fruitive desires. So we need fruit, like we do an activity, and as a result of that activity, I want something in return. So that is fruitive worker. So I go to the temple and I ask Krishna for something. I am doing a certain thing, I do a job, I want a return. I take care of my family members, I want a return from them. So all this is fruitive worker. So fruitive worker basically means those who have lot of material desires. So leaving them, there are 3 categories of people who are actually looking for spirituality. So now the Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan, these 3 categories which is mentioned, they talk about spirituality but different aspects of it.
So I'm sure right now in India it is bright and sunny in Chennai. I think temperature would be anywhere between 27-28 degrees, maybe higher, 29 degrees. And most of you would be sitting in a room which has a window, and our windows are all locked up in this particular room. But I'm sure some of you, I don't know, I'm not able to see your videos, but some of you may have light even now creeping in. So being situated in a room, we can experience sunshine, right? So we know it is day, sun is out, we can experience sunshine. So Brahman, we see here is corresponding to the sunshine. So Brahman is not Brahma. It does not talk about Lord Brahma. Brahman is the Brahma Jyoti, or the effulgence from the body of the Lord. And if we now move out of a room, we go to the terrace, and then we see, oh, this bright sunlight which was coming into my room is actually coming from sun. So there I can see the sun disk. Don't watch it for long because it will damage the eyes, but we can see the sun disk, which is the source of all that sunlight. So that is the we see the the form, so that is corresponding to Paramatma, or the form of the Lord, which pervades this entire material universe, which creates the form of the Lord, which creates, maintains, and destroys the material worlds. The form in which the Lord pervades every atom and every living entity within the form of, within every living entity, the form which resides in the heart of all living entities. So that is Paramatma. Now imagine if we were to board a rocket. We wear a spacesuit, board a rocket, and try to go towards sun. So of course we can't reach this. The rocket would melt, our suits will melt, and we will also melt away because it is very hot in this body. We cannot go to the sun. But Krishna explains that there is life form on everywhere in the universe, including Earth. There is life form even on sun, but of course they don't have bodies like us. And then there are controllers, or the controllers of the different planets and stars. Like we have Bhudevi, who's the controller or the representative of this Earth planet. Similarly, we have Suryadev, or sun god, who is the personality who controls sun. So if we were to achieve a proper body which has among the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So if the fire element is predominant, then we can actually go into the sun, and where we will locate, we can identify sun god. So that is the actual source, sun god. So similarly, that here we can take that example or analogy to understand Bhagwan. So Bhagwan is the final form of the Lord. So Brahmajyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So Bhagwan is the final source from which Paramatma and Brahman comes. So we'll look at this next picture. Okay, so this picture is very interesting. It is towards the top of this picture, you see that Krishna is standing there with his cow herding stick, and that is the form of Bhagwan. He is there in Golok Vrindavan in the spiritual world, and that is the form of Bhagwan. And if you see those rays of light which are coming from him, those rays of light that are coming from him, this is called Brahma Jyoti. This is the effulgence from the form of the Lord. And finally, we see that Lord has expanded into the material world. We see this beautiful four-handed form from whose pores, bodily pores, there are unlimited universe which expand, and they remain there for some time, and then they are taken back. So this is the Paramatma form, or a representation of the Lord in the material world. So these are the 3 features in which Supreme Lord can be perceived, but Bhagwan is the final form. So if we understand Bhagwan, we can very easily understand Paramatma and Brahmajyoti.
And we also need to remember that Bhagwan is actually the source of Paramatma and Brahman. So both of them emanates from him, or are a part or expansion of him. So if we want to establish a relationship, or if we want to aspire for Bhagwan realization. So here on the slide it is as what do I get? So what happens, my dear devotees, is we can have 5 types of rasas, or transcendental mellows, or spiritual relationship with the Supreme Lord. There are 5 types. So first one, as it says on the bottom of the screen, you see it says neutral. So that is worshipping Krishna in the Shantaras, or neutrality. So like there are so many cows in Vrindavan, or peacocks in Vrindavan. So they all have relationship with Krishna, and that is why they are there. They are all spiritual. But then their relationship is a little passive. Then next is the servant relationship. So Krishna is the master, and then there are servants, people actually serving Krishna. Like there are servants who help him in taking bath and getting him dressed. So the servants of Krishna. And then there is friendship, friendly relationship. Like we have Sudama, Sridama, Madhumangal. There are so many friends of Krishna. So friendly relationship. And then parental relationship, like we discussed in detail during the Damodar Leela pastime, that how Mother Yashoda, she has this motherly relationship with Krishna, and that relationship is so strong that she has the potency to actually tie Krishna. So that is how potent that parental relationship is. So even those, all the elderly Gopas and Gopis of Vrindavan, they have this parental relationship with Krishna. And then the topmost is the relationship of a lover. So we hear about the Gopis of Vrindavan, or we talk about the queens of Krishna in Dwarka. So they have this relationship of a lover with Krishna. So actually there are these 5 types of relationship which is possible only if we aspire for Bhagwan realization. So we were talking about Brahma realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagwan realization. So there are 3 categories of spiritualists who are desiring for 3 different things. They want 3 different results. So only when we aspire for Bhagwan realization, that I connect with Krishna in one of these 5 ways. And based on this, here we have a life lesson that people on different paths are not realizing different things. They all realize different degrees and aspects of Krishna. So even if I want Brahma realization, I am just fascinated by that Jyoti, that Brahma Jyoti they call. I'm just fascinated by Brahma Jyoti. I don't want any relationship. I just want to merge. Atma Paramatma mein leen kar dena. I just want to merge and become one with him. So then also I'm actually realizing a part of Krishna only, because that Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence which comes out from his body. Or if I want mystic siddhis and I want to realize Paramatma, so Paramatma is another expansion of Krishna which comes to this material world, creates the material world, and resides in our heart, in each and every living entity's heart. So that is also an expansion of Krishna. So the whole point is that different spiritualists all realize different degrees and aspects of Krishna. And before we proceed further, here we have another quiz coming up for you. It's a reflective exercise actually with 3 questions, and we want you to mark it, that generally how does one feel if he or she eats, and there are 3 alternatives given. Destination can you choose? Yes. So we have launched it here, and there it goes on your screen for those of you who are attending through Zoom.
Yeah, otherwise you have the questions on your screen on YouTube. So you can just look at those. It's very simple actually. So there are 3 options, and for one consumes, and then what is the result which one gets by consuming that.
So our YouTube friends can type in the comment section. Okay, so we have received almost 80% of the responses, and we will wait for last 10 seconds by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And with this we end the poll, and let's see what you have gotten there.
Okay. Some of you by eating pizza, potato fries and Coke feel intoxicated. I don't know. I mean, we have seen this response in other sessions also. I don't know. We have to check where you're getting that pizza and Coke from. To check.
Yeah, I mean, how is it making intoxicated? That is a question to think upon.
Okay.
And second is drinking alcohol. So of course, drinking alcohol and one person becomes intoxicated, and 95% of you have chosen that. And the third option, eating idli, sambar and chutney, and 97% of you feel nourished. Actually, in South India, in Chennai, at least I know that if somebody has any stomach issue, then they are actually prescribed by the doctor to eat idlis. So yes, idli is very, very healthy food. It is very nourishing food and it is easy on stomach also. So now, why are we discussing all these things in between the session? Like we were talking about destination and Paramatma, Brahma realization, and here pops up pizza, alcohol and sambar chutney. So what is the connection? So let's try and understand. So the point is that if somebody wants, can you go to the previous slide? If someone wants to have alcohol, if someone takes alcohol, then the result is that that person gets intoxicated. So the choice is in my hand what I want to take, but the result of that choice is fixed. So if I want to take alcohol, I would not get nourished. What I would get is intoxicated. If I want to take idli sambar chutney, then again, the result of my eating is fixed. So I have the freedom to choose, but whatever choice I make, the result of it is fixed. The result is fixed. So similarly, in the spiritual life, if we aspire for Brahma realization, or if we aspire for Paramatma realization, so what happens is the destination is fixed. So if I am choosing Paramatma realization, I will not land up having a relationship with Bhagwan. You're getting the point? If I'm eating idli, I do not get intoxicated. So I am choosing, and based on my choice, the destination is different. So all spiritual paths do not lead to the same destination. This is the first misconception which Krishna is removing here emphatically, that all spiritual paths, because people say that anybody you worship, anything you do,
any way you worship,
and you will attain the same result. So Krishna is telling, no, as they approach me, I reward them accordingly. So all spiritual paths do not lead to the same destination. If I'm aspiring for Bhagwan realization, then alone can I have a relationship with Krishna. The other two, I don't get into a relationship with Krishna. So moving to the next verse. Kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devataha Shipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja.
Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. So here, this is another misconception, and please mark my words, this misconception is propagated by many so-called spiritualists and by many so-called saints and by many so-called leaders, that, as Sukiti was saying in the previous session, a previous slide also, that you worship anyone, no problem. Like many temples will have some main deity and they will have some smaller deities. No problem, you worship anyone. Worship of anyone is same. So I'm sure you would have heard of this, and Krishna does not agree with that. So will we go with any XYZs, any Tom, Dick and Harry's opinion, or we would go by Krishna's opinion? So here we see that Krishna is identifying, Krishna is talking about differentiating between people who worship him, and Krishna is differentiating with people who worship devatas. So Krishna is making very clear that those who worship devatas are not worshipping me. They are not my worshippers. They are not my devotees. So many people have this misconception that devatas or demigods are different forms of Lord. So whether you worship Krishna or you worship any devata, it is one and the same. Krishna does not agree, and therefore it is not true or it is not correct. So this is one thing which he is distinguishing here, Krishna. And in fact, devatas are just empowered agents of Krishna. They are part and parcels of Krishna. They are not Krishna. They are not Bhagavan, or they are not God. So this is one very important thing. We will go to the insights of this page, of this verse. So why do people worship anybody else other than Krishna? Why do they worship? So, why do they worship? They worship because they're looking for quick results. That is why they're worshiping, right? So Krishna is saying here that those who desire material success, so people who want material success, I want, I have some particular desire. So we will hear often, okay, you worship that devata. If I have that desire, then somebody will prescribe that you worship some other devata. So like that, they will move from devata to devata to devata, trying to fulfill their so-called desires for quick results. So that's what Krishna is identifying. These people, they are mad after temporary things. They don't have long-term vision. They have their problem. They immediately want solution to the problem. Right? I have this problem today, I'll visit X Devata. I have that problem, I'll visit Y Devata. So they're mad after temporary things, and they're worshipping temporary leaders. They're worshipping temporary Devatas. So this is the really the flaw in their worship. The Devatas with their temporary results will be all finished, gone when the creation with this whole material world comes to an end. Right? So devatas are temporary, therefore the benefit that they can give cannot be permanent, can only be temporary. So these people are actually less intelligent, and that's why they're not interested in Krishna consciousness. They are not interested in having a permanent solution. Say, I'll give you an example. Of course, all of us would have fallen sick some or the other time. And what do? We go to a doctor and we say, I've got stomach ache. Then doctor will ask few questions, prescribe some medicine. We have solved that problem of stomach ache. After some time we have a problem with the eye. After some time I have a problem with the skin. After some time I have a problem with my liver. I have so many problems one after the other. And for those problems I go to the doctor. Do we ever go to the doctor and ask him, doctor, why don't you give me some medicine, some injection, some treatment so that I don't fall sick? Once and for all, I am relieved of all the diseases. Of course, we don't ask because doctors cannot provide such a solution. So similarly, devatas cannot provide permanent solution. They can only solve one problem or this problem or that problem. The only permanent solution can come from Supreme Lord. So we have some very nice life lessons, and let's look at them. If I am off the text, then of course all of you can read the text. Intelligent people look for permanent solution. Foolish look for the temporary quick fix. Aspire for complete perfection. Give Krishna consciousness a chance. So please, let's be intelligent. Let's try to solve all our problems. Many times when we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, people come back with a lot of problems. There are problems with the family, there are problems with the husband, problems with the children. Some people have financial problems, some have health problems, But then we need to understand these problems will not end till the time we are in this material world, till the time we have this material body. It is prone to damage. It is prone to change. Our relationships are prone to change. So we cannot get a permanent solution. So the only way is that we meet the all blissful Lord. He is always happy, infinitely happy. So if I connect with him, then I can be only supremely. Then I can also be happy to the whatever is the maximum limit of happiness is there. I can be that. So that is possible only when I become Krishna conscious. And there is another beautiful life lesson. Whether one is without desire or is desirous of all fruitive results, or is after liberation, one should, with all efforts, try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection, culminating in Krishna consciousness. So here, this is a beautiful verse. If you have pen and paper, please make a note. This is from 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, 10th verse, which says, whether I have all desires or I have no desire, or I have desire for liberation, for mukti, worship Krishna. Worship Krishna only. Because by worshipping Krishna, I'll attain perfection. So this is a very simple formula. If I have so many desires, or I have no desire, I am a nice devotee, I don't desire anything for my sense gratification, or I'm looking for mukti, I have so much of trouble in this material world, I want mukti. So in all the three cases, worship Krishna, and then I'll attain complete perfection. So this is a very beautiful verse. We'll go to the next shloka.
Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashah tasya kartaram api mam vidhi akartaram avyayam.
According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So what is the Lord saying? That according to the modes of material nature and the work, guna, karma. Guna means sattva gun, rajagun, tamogun. Karma means the activities based on these gunas and the activities. Vibhagasha, I have divided the whole human society into chaturvarnam. Chaturvarna means four different varnas based on the quality which people exhibit. So it's a very natural system. A person in tamogun will have different inclination for work. A person in rajogun will have a different inclination, and a person in satogun will have a completely different inclination of the kind of work that he's attracted to. And that is what Krishna is saying, that system I created. But he's saying, Tasya kartaram abhimam vidhi akartaram abhyayam. So although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am still not the non-doer. So we'll go to the insights.
So Krishna is talking about how to overcome this acute attachment and desire. Now, I'll quickly mark the line in which direction we are moving. So last session, Krishna was talking about eternal education, how to acquire, what is the qualification, and how people attain perfection after achieving that eternal education. Today's session we started in the 11th verse. The question was raised in the mind of Arjun. So now here interesting thing is that even Arjun is thinking and he is not asking, Krishna is answering those questions. So in the 11th verse, Krishna answers about those people who desire something else. In the 12th verse, Krishna was telling why do they desire something else is because, or why do they go to other people is because they want quick results. Now here Krishna is telling that so they have so many desires. People have so many desires. Is there a way out to control these desires? Is there a way that these people can also attain perfection? So that question Krishna is answering here by saying two things. He is telling first part is that to overcome the acute attachment and desire which the living entities have, Krishna has created what he calls a varnashram system. And second, he is talking about his specific role in this varnashram system. So we will go to the next slide and see more in detail about this varnashram system. So Krishna says here, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam. He has divided the whole human society in Chatur or four divisions. So now this division of human society is not only for India. It's not only for our community of people, but it is for the entire world. So wherever you are located, like I know that some of you watch us from Singapore, Hong Kong, Middle East, UK, US. So in any place wherever you are situated, you can see that the entire population there is divided into four categories. So one of the four categories is the intellectual class, right? So these are the people who are in advisory committee or who are the research scholars. So they are the intellectual class. The second class is known as the administrative class. So when running the whole country requires a certain degree of administration. So this administrative class is the second class, who actually comprises of political leaders, etc., who take care of the smooth functioning of the country. The third is the trading class or the business class or the mercantile class. So what is their role in the economy? They actually make the money flow. So we buy something, we invest somewhere. So all that, they are responsible for these business dealings and transactions, and they generate the revenue. So third is the mercantile class. And the fourth one is the salaried people who work for one of these. So they may be working for intellectual class, they may be working for the mercantile class, or they may be working for the administrative class. So the whole point is that this is how the division is there. So this division is based on my propensities, which is also known as my gunas or my qualities. So these qualities I acquire based on my association with various modes of nature. So goodness, passion or ignorance, or satogun, rajogun and tamogun. So that is mentioned here as guna. And second is the karma or the type of activity I actually do. So one is the quality and second is the activity. So this division of what I was referring to as intellectual, administrative, business class and salaried people is actually translated into Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and this is not based on birth. So a person does not become a Brahmin just because he takes birth in the Brahmin family. One must have those Brahminical qualities to qualify. So that is why Krishna is telling Chatur Marnyam Vraya Srishtam Guna Karma Vigbhagasha. Krishna is not talking about caste system here. So Krishna is removing another misconception about caste system. And then he says that he has divided this into 4 categories, and what is the purpose of it? For the gradual and systematic development of animalistic people to Krishna consciousness. Now, who are these animalistic people? So in verse number 12, we were discussing about people who want quick results. And for that, they will do anything what it takes. Right? So that tendency where I am only the center of my existence, I want to satisfy my needs only. So that is actually animalistic tendency, because that is how animals survive. So to regulate my senses, this varnashram system is introduced. So this is what Krishna is describing in this verse. And here we have a life lesson. That the caste system, yes.
Yes, so it's a very straightforward. Sugiti discussed determination of caste by birth is refuted in Bhagavad Gita. So the caste is not determined by birth, but by the qualities I have and by what action, what activity I am engaged in. Accordingly, my varna is decided. And of course, if one becomes a devotee, irrespective of what he is in, what kind of quality he is in, if one transcends this limited knowledge and reaches the knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a Vaishnava. That person is a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is higher than a Brahmana. So finally, the aim of whether one is a Shudra or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana, the goal of the entire Varnashram system is to become a devotee, to realize our true self, that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, I am servant of the Lord. So these are Varnashram system that way is an external system to regulate our senses and regulate our desires, but internally we are all servants of God. So the moment I realize that, I transcend this system. And what is Krishna's role in this whole system is?
So does Krishna decides or controls the desires and actions of the living entity? This question may arise that, okay, so Krishna has created this division. Krishna has created the system. Now, is Krishna the one who is responsible? So Krishna is clearing it out and he's saying, no, they work as per their guna and karma. So in which mode of material nature I am situated, I work accordingly. And Krishna is not responsible for that. Krishna says he is just the creator. He is not into the system. He is just the creator and he is the non-doer. So there he tells, actually what happens here is that the living entity, you and I, we are the ones who desire. And when we desire, Krishna sanctions that. And then he has created this whole material nature to facilitate our activity. So if I have certain desire and Krishna facilitates that. So to understand this, we are coming up with another pole here, It is there in front of you on your screen, and we are just sharing the poll also. So we are telling you to come to Chennai for 10 hours only, and during that 10 hours, what you would be doing, that one single activity that you have to choose in the options given. So I think Hema Malini said that she could not see the poll. So for seeing the poll, you have to see at the top corner on the left side of your screen, phone screen, poll would be written. You click on that poll and then this poll would open up.
In the Zoom.
In the Zoom, yeah, if you are at the Zoom. Poll. We are being clever here. We have not given you the choice to come to ISKCON temple. I know if that would have been your first preference, but we have another list of choices here. Mahabalipuram, Ani and Niyati are asking, what is Mahabalipuram? So Mahabalipuram, we have a beautiful tourist spot close to Chennai, which is full of beaches and ancient temples.
There's an amazing temple of
Sthal
Shayan Perumal temple, where Lord is he's sleeping there.
And those of you who don't know, T Nagar is the hub for gold and silk. So if you are into shopping, Chennai, generally people come for gold and silk. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we will end the poll here, and here goes the result. So the highest vote goes to Mahabalipuram. 36% of you have chosen that, and 26% of you choose to be at the airport. Okay. No. From where again the Chennai came in between? What are we discussing about? So we were talking about how Krishna is the non-doer. So how do we understand this based on this particular reflective exercise which we are doing is, like 36% of you decided that, okay, you have 10 hours, let me go quickly and visit Mahabalipuram. I have heard a lot about it. Let me go and check out Mahabalipuram. And there you go. And there you reach. So you end up being at Mahabalipuram. Some of you decide to explore the street food. You go and you try out the street food. And then let's say if the street food was a little extra spicy for your stomach and the stomach may not behave well, but then it was your choice, right? So different options are there, and who is choosing? I choose. So who's responsible for the results? If I go and eat street food and my stomach gets upset, so is it fair to blame Krishna for that?
Or if I go to T Nagar and I'm attracted by all those huge shops, I mean, in T Nagar, I've seen there is one shop which will be 6 floors, 5 floors, huge floors, and the whole floor is covered. So much stuff is there, and even if you're not in a mood to buy, if you explore any of those shops, you will end up buying something or the other, right?
So who's responsible?
So I mean, so this is one thing that we see, that how actually we make a choice and then we are responsible for the consequences of those choices. Like, and Krishna is just neutrally situated. He has created a facility. So he has created a facility to this material world. Like the government has created the, I mean, if we understand that we have a perfect government, government has a perfect set of laws, and it is up to us to make a choice whether we want to follow the laws and be free citizen, or to break those laws and be governed by another set of laws of jail, right? So, but the government is not responsible for the choices that I make, right? So that is where we come to this life lesson, which we need to actually kind of remember always. Accept responsibility. We have to accept responsibility for our choices and for the consequences of those choices, and stop blaming Krishna. So we make a choice, we get certain reactions to that, and that's a time, if the reactions are good about, as per our understanding, then we take the credit. And if it is not, we try to blame someone, and we try to usually place the blame on somebody else, or if you don't mind anyone else, then we blame the Supreme Lord. So accept the responsibility that it was I who made that choice, and therefore I am responsible for those consequences of the choice. And second one is, the essence of spiritual life is to simply use our free will correctly. Make that right choice. If you make the right spiritual choice, then it is the then see, every day we are making some or the other choice, and if all those choices are governed by spiritual principles, then we'll very quickly advance. So we'll go to the 14th verse.
Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spraha iti mam yo bhijanati karma bhirna sabadhyate.
There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. So Krishna is saying, Namam karmani limpanti, there is no work that affects me. Name karma phale spraha, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. Karma phal, I am not interested in karma phal. Activities do not bind me. I am not attracted to the fruits of action. And therefore Krishna says, those who know this, they also become free from the bindings of this action reaction, from the actions of karma. So we have very nice insights.
How is Krishna a non-doer? Krishna is explaining here, there are two reasons he gave. One, that no work affect him. Now, why the action is not affecting? If I do any action, then I am liable to get a reaction. Why it does not happen in Krishna's case? Because Krishna does not have any material desires. Because Krishna's activities are all spiritual. Janma karma cha me divyam. We read in the last session, 9th verse. So his activities are transcendental. He does not have any material desire, and hence he is unaffected by action and reaction. So what does actually Krishna do? He is just providing the facility for our action, and he regulates that through the different modes of nature and what he says about Varnashram system. So no work affects him. Now in this category, if we also come to that platform that we don't have any material desires, so then we will also not be liable for karma phal, like how it is not in Krishna's case. So to understand this, we have this next slide here. So we saw that how Krishna is a non-doer because he remains aloof from the material desiring and action reaction. What a normal living entity does, the normal living entity, regular people, they feel that this world is for my enjoyment. They have so many desires, and they are caught in this action reaction web because they have desire. So if a person has a desire, to fulfill that desire, that person would do an action, and the moment he acts, and then he is liable for a reaction. Whereas in the case of the devotees, so we understand, like in the previous slide I was telling you, that if we also do not have that material desire, so they understand that how Krishna does not have material desire, and they understand that if we don't have, then we would also be free from this reaction of work. So here we have another insight with the help of an example here.
Yes, so this is, for example, when rain falls, is it responsible for the different types of vegetation? One way, yes, because water is necessary. So there are different seeds in the soil, rainwater falls, the seeds sprout. Yeah, that is the role of the rain. But whether there is a rice plant, or is it a wheat plant, or is it a marigold, or is it a rose, is that dependent on the rain? No. So rain is just giving the water, just the nourishment of water. But what comes out depends on the seed. So similarly, Lord is like the rain, creates a facility, and sometimes a cactus grows and sometimes a rose. So similarly, Lord just provides and is not responsible. So we have a nice life lesson. Supreme Lord is not responsible for the choices I make. So many times people say, no, I've been forced. I have been, made the choice because this is Krishna's will. So there are many criminals who say, I heard a voice and that's why I committed this crime. God told me to do this crime. So all that kind of thing we need to cut out. We have our own free will and we have the freedom to make that choice. And therefore Supreme Lord is not responsible for the choices I make. He inspires us to make the right choices.
Evam gyatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshibhi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. So now here Krishna is giving an example of all his previous students to whom this transcendental knowledge was given. So he is saying that all the liberated souls, what did they do? They understood this transcendental nature of Krishna and they acted accordingly. And then Krishna gives a very specific instruction. So the insight here is that Krishna's call for action. He tells two things to Arjun. One is follow the footsteps. Whose footsteps? Those liberated souls. Or for us it implies the previous acharyas, the Guru Parampara. Krishna spoke Evam Parampara Praptam in 4.2. So he is talking about follow their footsteps. And second thing Krishna is saying is perform your duty. So in no situation you should not perform your duty. So with this we end the second section and we will go to the next section and we'll take 3 verses from here before we end today's session. So we have completed the section about Krishna removing misconceptions. So there are very strong misconceptions which Krishna has removed there. So the first one was that different spiritual paths lead to different destinations. Not everything leads to the same place. Then in the next verse, Krishna defied or spoke about the demigods and how demigods are different from Krishna. Then Krishna spoke about how the Varnashram system is not the caste system. And then Krishna spoke about that how the living entity is responsible for what he desires and he acts. So now this particular section, the next section from verse number 16 to 24, Krishna is talking about removing reactions.
So let's look at these 2 verses, 16 and 17. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action, what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, without which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So Krishna is actually kind of warning here that if you do not follow my instructions, if you do not follow the examples of great devotees of the past like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, and the acharyas and the bona fide teachers, if you don't want to listen to them, then you have no hope for success. Because Krishna is saying even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is the right action, what is bhakti, what is inaction, actions which do not produce reaction. Like towards the end of the 17th verse, he's saying what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So even an intelligent person cannot actually properly identify. So we look at the insights for this verse. So Krishna is making it mandatory, must follow the liberated souls, otherwise you will get bewildered and you cannot distinguish between karma, vikarma and akarma. Karma means activities as per the scriptures, the pious activities. Vikarma means activities against the principles of scriptures or adharma. Sinful activities for which one will get punishment. And akarma means spiritual activities, actions we will do, but there is no material reaction. So we'll look at a little more analysis of these 3 words. So we have, yes, Sugiti.
So we have presented it in a tabular format so that we can remember. So talking about the first column, karma. So a person who performs karma, for whom is he acting? He is acting or he is doing work with attachment. So basically he's in the center. What is his attitude? That he tries to work according to the scriptures, and as a result he gets good reaction. So this category of work is basically the karma kanda work, where we do a lot of piety like charity, etc. So we are doing a lot of pious things and we get good reaction. The second column, vikarma. So vikarma is again a person is working with attachment. He's again attached to himself, and his attitude is he doesn't care about the scriptures. Whatever the scriptures say, I'll do whatever gives me
If you like
happiness.
it, you do it.
Yeah, so that way. And as a result, he ends up with lot of sinful reactions. Talking about the third one, the akarma. Now, akarma are the activities which I do not do for my satisfaction. Akarma is all acts are done for Krishna's pleasure. So the person here, the devotee, he understands that he is the servant of Krishna, and so he does not desire for any sense gratification, but he works as a humble, menial servant of Krishna. And as a result, what he gets is transcendental in nature. So he gets free from the cycle of birth and death. He gets free from the cycle of action and reaction, because he is working only for the pleasure of Krishna. So here we have a couple of life lessons from this particular shloka. If one follows the authority, perfection is guaranteed. So Krishna is emphasizing so much about following the liberated souls, because if we follow the authority, the perfection is guaranteed. And there is another life lesson.
Learn to discriminate among the three orders.
Three in order to achieve liberation. So we must very clearly understand what is karma, vikarma and akarma. If we understand the three, we understand the difference between the three, then of course we will attain liberation. Because we know that karma and vikarma are binding, akarma is liberating. So we need to understand that. So the last shloka for the day coming up here. Karmani akarmayah pashyet, akarmani cha karmayah, sabuddhiman manusyeshu, sayuktah kritsna karma krit. So here Krishna is talking about buddhiman manusya, the intelligent person, the intelligent man, the intelligent woman. So one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men. So what Krishna is saying, those who can see inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men. So that itself is a little confusing. What does it really mean? Am I intelligent or not? Don't worry, we'll have the next slide for the insights. Let us complete reading the translation. And he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So one who understands inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among man, and he is in transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So an intelligent person understands the difference between the two, and at the same time he's engaged in proper activities. So let's look at the insights. So Krishna used two words here, inaction, inaction. So what does action in inaction means? Action in inaction means devotional service. So which means the person is engaged in action. So the person is engaged in action. Yeah, the person is doing activities like I am cooking. Yeah. So see, the point is we need to understand action. We are talking about activities. Inaction means no activities. So when we do devotional services, for example, we eat. Okay, we eat grains, fruits, vegetables, whatever we eat, there is life in them. Then when there is a potato or there is wheat or there is rice, there is life in them. And if we consume them, of course, there is some amount of karmic reaction connected to that. But a devotee is eating, but he is not generating any reaction. So actually, he is in action. So which he all that whatever food is there, he understands it has come to me by the grace of the Lord. He offers it to the Lord and accepts it as his mercy, as his prasadam. So although he's performing an action, there is no reaction. So that is devotional service. And
Actually, I think this is incorrect.
This is correct. Action in inaction.
I think this is incorrect. So because he's performing action, but that action, it is inaction. So I'm performing devotional service. I'm acting with my body. I'm acting with my mind. I'm acting with my thoughts. I'm acting with my intelligence, right? But when I'm acting, I still do not get any reactions to that. So therefore, that is the situation for this situation of devotional service. Whereas we look at another person, he's not doing any action. Like, for example, who has renounced this material world, who has accepted sannyas. Somebody who has just accepted sannyas. He has, so he doesn't go to office. He does not maintain his family. But still there is a possibility that in his mind, he is contemplating on enjoyment. He's remembering his old memories when he enjoyed. He may be contemplating how he enjoys in the future. So although externally he is not engaged in action, but internally he's thinking about his enjoyment. So that he is apparently in action, but then he's engaged in action. So that is improper renunciation. So we just have somehow making this slide, we have flipped the two.
So probably next section we would
next session we'll take it again. Yeah, we will put this inside properly and we'll present it again. So with that, we come to the end of this session, trimester 2, chapter lesson 4, chapter 4, lesson 2. So memory verses are verses 11 and 13. These are two memory verses. And our next reading that we have to do is from verse 19 to 30. These are the verses that we need to read before we come for the next session.
So looking forward to see all of you today evening, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the live Q&A session. Any doubt, any question, we have already shared the Q&A link with all of you. So kindly post your question there. Those of you who are watching at YouTube, the Q&A link is given in the description window, and we are also posting it in the chat window. And Zoom devotees, they are aware where the Q&A link is. So please send your questions, and looking forward to meet all of you today evening, 5 p.m. Thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhayavcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol.
So we officially end the session here, and we would continue the Zoom interaction if anyone of you would like to say something or share something. Just give us 2 minutes. Our WhatsApp number is 9840229226. So in any case of any difficulty, anything which you are looking for, kindly drop a message there and we'll respond back to you.